right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I want to go ahead and get right to it because this is a live stream and a question being answered. And when I do that, I want to make sure that it's fast, simple, to the point, crank out the content, and get back to work. So thank you very much, first of all. If you are not a member of the Festini Mafia, it is a monthly membership, and for $50 a month, I deliver daily content to your platform. So it's a university style platform where you log in every day of the week. You will have Monday motivational, Tuesday technology tips, Wednesday marketing, Thursday sellers, Friday buyers, scripts, dialogues, templates, marketing pieces, video, audio. I mean, every day of the week. There's unheard of. There's no platform like it. Nobody is delivering daily nuggets like this that is not anywhere on YouTube, nowhere. I mean, it literally is exclusive to this group. So if you're interested, give it a month. If you don't like it, cancel anytime, but it's $50 a month. jamesfestini.com/training. And that's my commercial. I think that's the fastest I've ever spit it out. All right, so let's talk. This is a question that I get asked. I mean, if there's a questions I get asked most often, this is one, and I don't know why I've never covered it. How often do I door knock the same area? And it's going to depend on how big the territory is, the geography of those cities. As you know, if you've studied my philosophies or my system for any length of time, you'll know I have narrowed it down to time and space. I'm going to get a little bit meta. Time and space, meaning you only have a certain amount of time to travel through the space in this real estate industry. So you take the epicenter of your office and the epicenter of where you live, meaning like all of your lifestyle and everything. You're going to be able to take those two destinations. So for me, for example, I live in the city of Yorba Linda and my office is on the edge of Anaheim Hills, which actually I should be telephone prospecting from. Anyhow, I should be prospecting from that location right now, but I'm going to just go ahead and go. When I narrow down my region, I take from where I live and where I work, and that's a geographical distance of maybe 5 miles as the crow flies. What that does is it creates what I call a sphere of intense interest, a higher degree of what you're willing to commit to. You can call it a farm, but it's slightly larger than a farm for me, only because I don't farm per se. I don't mail blindly into neighborhoods. I'm very deliberate and intentional and specific when it comes to mail. Okay, and I think that's what it boils down to, is like, how much money am I going to spend on mail in order to call it a farm? Because you can't call it a farm if you're not dropping propaganda into that region. Does that make sense? So, I'm trying to fix this mic now too. So if you call it a territory, a farm, that is what I would also refer to as a sphere of intense interest. A geographical location based on where you live and where you work. Not where you one day hope you live. Not because you think it's a high turnover. Because when you go into this real estate industry, if you start studying high turnover rates, you can spend tens of thousands of dollars marketing into a territory and not get any results. And you look and you're like, well, it's got high turnover. Well, because there's agents like myself who are a little more focused in that region, you're going to find a dominating agent. And if you're going to be in this business, let's say 10, 20 years, you're going to want to settle into a geographical territory, a space, a fence, a perimeter. And so individuals' regions are going to be limited to geographical terrain, maybe a mountain range, maybe a water feature, maybe you live at the, by the ocean, maybe you live by a lake, maybe you live by a hillside or a military base. So you're going to be restricted. Usually when you hire me as a one-on-one coach, which I do offer that, just reach out, jamesfestini.com. It's $500 a month for now. The more in demand I get, the more real estate I'm doing, the less you have access to me, the more I have to charge. But it's totally worth it, because one of the first things we do is we sit down and try to identify what is this sphere of intense interest. What is this geographical territory that anything happens, you know every liquor store, you know every gas station, you know everything. You collect floor plans, anything that comes up on the market, sales, anything that hits the marketplace, you preview. This geographical destination could just be a city, right? If your city has a nice, width and a good amount of people, then it could just be the city. It really has to do with recognition, face recognition, name recognition, and branding. So I'll get to the answer to the question, but it's bigger than that. And I've overthought this so that it makes complete sense to you as to why I door knock a specific region X amount of times a year. What is that X? I only knock a region, a territory, a part of the city, the same door once a year. Why just once a year? Well, because during the course of the year, I'm also cold calling into that territory. I'm also, when I door knock, I hit it once, maybe I hit it again when I'm cold calling, but when I get a listing in a region of that territory, then I go out and door knock it again. So it's possible that I could hit the same territory twice in 1 year because I got a listing. And I want to go and do a just listed door knocking, but hold on now, James. I thought you said you don't do just listed. No, I don't do just listed. I will knock a territory to solidify my name, my brand, my face, my logo in a specific geographical region if I land a listing. It doesn't change my script. I will go into the conversation, into the cold call, and say, hi, my name is Agent with Company. I was wondering if you had any interest in selling your house. Now we're talking about the time of the knock. So let's say I knock on a door in January. I knock through a city or a neighborhood or a region in January. Again, you got to also look at your physical limitation. How much can you physically knock? Door knocking it's a sport. Like if golf is a sport, door knocking is a sport, right? That's all there is to it. Because I think you do more walking and door knocking than you do that. You climb up and down the steps. You're carrying a large heavy bag. Yeah, door knocking is a sport. It's a contact sport, and it's a numbers game. Now, we're gonna be limited on how much can we physically knock. I like to knock 100 doors a day minimum, 500 doors a week minimum. If I'm feeling good, if the weather is cool, then I'll go and step it up to 1,000 doors. Why not, right? 200 doors a day, 100 contacts a day. I have a high standard for what my body is physically capable of doing. I'm an endurance athlete, I guess you could say. I ride my bike, centuries, which is 100 miles. I've done 7 marathons, which is 26.2 miles. I'm slightly edging towards going for an Ironman next year, which is insane, right? I'm not. You take one look at me and be like, "You're a runner." Yeah, right. You're gonna do an Ironman. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I've got the medals to prove it. Anyhow. My level of tenacity and endurance might be different than a 50-year-old or 60-year-old, overweight with back troubles. So you're kind of limited as to how far you can go in a week. But let's say I'm able to knock 100 doors a day, 500 doors a week. And then you say, what, 500,000, 2,000 in a month? Are you going to knock that place next month? No. My sphere of intense interest is roughly the amount of doors I can knock, depending on how aggressive I am that year. Again, all of this is these are very broad questions. How often should I knock a territory? That assumes that you are consistent with knocking. When you say, how often should I knock it, and you've never door knocked, you shouldn't worry about that just yet. Go out and knock on 5,000 doors And then ask that question again. How often? How long did it take you to get through those 5,000? Did it take you a year to knock through that region? Is your farm bigger than your ability to knock on the door? I don't do blind mailers. I don't, and I mean by mailers is put it, every door direct, because every door direct means you're mailing to real estate agents. You're mailing to people who are renters. You are mailing to people who are going out feet first, and you're blindly doing it. I operate differently. I am a human postcard. I am knocking on 500 doors a week. Therefore, I am doing essentially 500 mailers a week to a specific region. And I'm extracting the individuals from that territory who might be interested. And with that, I mail to them. Yes, the cost of mail is probably twice as much, or maybe even 3 times as much, but it's 10 times more effective for me to mail to someone who says maybe than it is for me to mail to someone who is a renter or is going out feet first, or maybe a real estate. It's just, I don't understand blanket mailing. It's expensive, and unless you know every door that you're mailing to, it's throwing your money in the garbage. I know. I get 4 mailers a month from the top agents in the town. They're mailing to me. Why? Does this make sense? I mean, they're spending probably $5 a month on me. Why? I don't get it. So, how often should I knock? James, we've talked for a long time. How often should I knock? You want to knock your sweet 10,000 doors, because I think last year I posted getting doors. At the end of the day, it's not, if I I post my numbers, but if you check on me, I'd be like, you say one thing and you're doing another, James. You're full of shit. Because I'm not, if I average out, I like to do 100 doors a day, but if I went into Espadio and I said, how many doors have I knocked this year, it might average out to like 5, 10 a day. I guess I could check. Sometimes I don't tag the roof that's not home, so I can't really say. Again, with with a dialer, same thing. You can go in there and say, how many am I really doing? Is this the reality? So we're knocking the territory that I'm in. It's all going to depend on how consistent you're going to be in that geographical territory. If you're going to be capable of physically knocking 1,000 doors a week, then you might recognize that you've gotten from hitting the doors consistently. You might see I know this door. Actually, I feel like I talked to them. Actually, it's like, I know this little. She's going out feet first. You start door and you remember the last time. Don't use that as an excuse to say, hey, last time I talked to them, they said they're going out feet first. I'm not even going to knock on this door. I've had people say they're going out feet first, and then one of them dies, and only one of them goes out feet first, and then the next one's like, now what? Sell the house. So you don't know. Not expecting that they're going to die. That's pretty sad. But I've also had them say, I'm never selling, and then a week later there's a for sale sign in their front yard, and I'm like, what's that all about? How did that happen? So once a year, as like a minimum, how about that? If you can knock 10,000 doors in 1 year, and that 10,000 is roughly geographic, say, this is my place, and you land a listing there, and another landed a listing, like the story before I door knocked it. He is in the beginning or the end of July, sold the house in 72 hours. He ended up buying another house, so that was a double end. It roughly translated to about $32,000 in my pocket. And as I went back to territory, because I just sold there and I had a signed territory, I haven't neighborhood, well, probably since I hit him, and I was kind of half-assed in that territory. I have 2 signed territory. I don't even think that this is my sphere of intense interest per se, because it was, the universe is blessing me with listings from that territory. So why wouldn't I do some more magic territory? Facebook and advertise that stretch of homeowners only. So I've been spending a couple bucks a month ad. It's this snowball effect that comes through eventually from. So anyhow, how often should you door knock it? I'd say once a year if you can remain consistent. Once a year, maybe twice a year. If you feel like you recognize that door and you're being annoying, then definitely once a year. But I would not go more than once a year. I also fear makes you feel as if you should be um, like I just feel like twice a year is too much because they're not going to change their mind in that time. So the answer is once a year. Yeah, for me. If you want to do twice a year, I think it'd be insane to go out and door knock the same door 3 times a year because at some point the neighbor's gonna be like, dude, you were just here yesterday. And in your mind, you keep a track record of that. It's been like 6 months, but if they recognize you and you start feeling as if, hey, I was just here yesterday, if you feel that way, I feel that way sometimes at a door where I'm like, I've been at this door 3 times in the last 3 years. I just feel like I'm too much. Is that too much? I don't know. It's a hard one to say. I would say once a year. So anyhow, if you guys are interested, make sure that you go into that Festini Mafia. Join me there. I'm going to go upstairs right now and I'm going to do a telephone prospecting marathon. It is 12 o'clock. I will go till I hit my 100 and then I'm going to stand up and door knock. Or maybe I'll just go to 200. I'm feeling like I want to be on the phones again, even though door knocking. I go through seasons, man. Sometimes I want to door knock. Sometimes I want to call. I'm feeling a cold call vibe. I'm feeling a telephone prospecting vibe right now. And I might be a little burned out on the doors because I've been so aggressively pursuing the doors. But then again, I did get 2 listings like within the last 60 days and a sale and a listing from that and a sale and a purchase of a so door knocking like in the last 60 days, and that's why I go through this process going, I should be door knocking. There's times in my career where I think to myself, I shouldn't be doing anything else but door knock. Like I should be from 9 a.m. to sunset. I should be just strictly at the door. F cold call. I'm having that feeling now. Okay, so we're gonna go upstairs. I do it live on the internet. I've got my rigs all set up. I've actually got now 3 cameras. It's gonna look good. It's gonna work, hopefully. But I'm gonna go upstairs. We're gonna hit the phones. Please make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make sure that you go to Facebook and go to the Festini, James Festini's Mafia, and join that free group. And if you really, really want to dive deep, there's only, I got a couple products, jamesfestini.com training, and join the Festini Mafia. That's really good content. You get in there and every day of the week, I'm giving you something and it's on at your pace. You can obviously upgrade to get, the packages and the door knocking and the cold calling and all that stuff, but at your pace, I want you guys to work your tail off. And if your tail is more delicate than mine, work it within your reason. All right, so let's go hit the phones and then we'll hit the doors. I'm gonna go for 200 today.